What's going on, everybody? Jimmy Fornitron here, and today we're going to be going over my review of Starfield Shattered Space DLC for based game reviews. So let's get into it. Disclaimer: nothing has changed about my main criticisms of Starfield and what I think of the base game. If you want to see what I thought about Starfield, check out my revisited review on basegamereviews.com. The link will be in the description. That being said, this will be my third time jumping back into the world of Starfield, and let's just say, not much has changed. How I played. I pre-ordered the deluxe edition of Starfield to play 3 days early at launch, and as a part of that, I received the Shattered Space DLC for free. All through my Xbox Game Pass PC subscription. I played on my R7 7800 X3D RTX 3080 gaming PC with 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and I played at 1440p on ultra settings and hovered around 80 to 90 FPS and sometimes went above 100 FPS. Story, 10 out of 20. The Shattered Space DLC kicks off with a stranded space station that will spawn outside of any planet's orbit that you travel to. There is a distress beacon that warns you to stay away, but in typical horror movie fashion, you ignore the warning and go see what's up. This introduction reminded me of the movie Event Horizon, which was a 1997 horror sci-fi classic. And even though the space station was nothing insanely new, it did have some nice flair, and I could tell Bethesda put some handcrafted man-hours into this introduction, which was appreciated. The cutscenes suck in Starfield. I'm sorry, I can't put it any other way. I turned off the awful close-up face zoom during cutscenes, which made it a little bit better, but for a huge sci-fi space adventure game, you would think there would be some amazing pre-rendered cutscenes or in-game cutscenes with some cool camera work and effects. But there's none. There is one in-game rendered cutscene at the very end when you do like an escape section, and that was it. Isn't Bethesda a huge AAA studio, or are they an indie studio? I'm confused. If you count all of the NPCs regurgitating the same storylines as world building, then sure, there's some in Shattered Space DLC, but every NPC has the most unimaginative, nothing dialogue that I don't even feel like they added anything to the atmosphere or story of the game. You might as well have just made them all mute. Bethesda, you took a full year since the original game release to make this? I apologize for being extra critical here, but I feel like a studio of your size has zero excuses here. You have received feedback all year from players that the game is boring, the quest lines are dull, and the dialogue is cheesy, and you have decided to listen to none of this. Good move. I hope it works out for you. Graphics, 12 out of 15. I was impressed with the cultural designs of the people of Varun. They reminded me of the traditional styles of indigenous Hawaiians or Maori from New Zealand. The intricate face tattoos and clothing patterns looked amazing, and it was clear there was a lot of thoughtful craftsmanship involved, unlike the usual procedurally generated slop you get in the base game. So kudos Bethesda. Whoever designed the skybox used for Varun deserves a raise. This was a very cool color palette and made for some very epic landscape shots during my playthrough. I just wish the game did more with this by having its own in-game rendered cutscenes that do something like an epic flyover or like a big reveal when you open the main city's large doors. Cough cough, like Dark Souls. Nothing has changed from the base game here. There are these new anti-gravity bubbles, but that was it for special effects. Audio, 7 out of 15. The ambience is at the bare minimum. I didn't feel like there was any new music. It all just felt like the same stuff from the base game. There's no boss music, just the same generic high-intensity background music. The sound design is very disappointing. There's still tons of bugs where NPCs will start dialogue when they aren't supposed to, and then they won't stop, or they will interrupt other NPCs. Performance, 6 out of 10. I was getting pretty consistent frame rates, and I know the Xbox consoles have gotten performance patches in the last few months, and I know they don't quite hit 60 FPS, but it is nice to see that Bethesda is at least trying. For stability, this is your brand new DLC, and you've been working on it for over a year, and almost immediately at the start of the DLC, an NPC walks through a cutscene and gets stuck at a door. What are we doing here, Bethesda? Do you even care, or are you even trying anymore? And no, I'm not a believer in that this is just Bethesda charm. That is embarrassing. You should feel shame for releasing a product that is still this janky. NPCs have terrible AI, ridiculous ragdoll physics, and missions getting stuck because you didn't do the sequence of events in the designed order. It's a complete joke. Gameplay, 19 out of 40. The controls are the same as the base game. The controls feel decent. The mechanics, there's nothing new from the base game. No new weapon styles, no different land vehicles, no new ships, no new mechanics. The DLC has like 6 missions, and most of them are go to this group of people and do some meaningless chores for them. Save hostages, track down a royal in a camp, go to a facility and shut it down. Lame. The UI and UE is awful in Starfield, same as the base game. Navigating the start menu is terrible. You shouldn't have to rely on modders to fix how your game works. The final boss is, spoiler, an NPC with a double health bar. Shocker. The whole DLC, everyone was talking about the giant serpent god or the great serpent. I was literally expecting a Rykard-like boss from Elden Ring, but what do you get? Some dude with a double health bar. And I wish I was joking. The enemy variety is terrible. Instead of NPC Crimson Pirates, you get ghost NPCs, and a couple of the random alien monsters got reskins. Wow. Gameplay variety. There's still all the random stuff that you can do in Starfield, but the DLC is very limited as it's just a few set missions that are on the new planet of Varun. Replayability. I will never play this DLC again, not even if you paid me. Overall, 51 out of 100. Fair. Starfield Shattered Space shows that Bethesda clearly don't give a about delivering anything half decent. The fact that this took 1 year to put out is a disgrace, and I honestly feel like Microsoft should have a Bethesda team meeting and let go of everyone who worked on Starfield in leadership positions. Seriously, bring me to the Bethesda offices and I'll do it for free. Bethesda would be at a net positive if they let go of their entire staff right now. They have seemingly nothing in the pipeline. All they have to show is a CGI trailer of a mountain range with the text Elder Scrolls 6 on it. The Creation 2 engine is a joke, and I don't care if you've dumped hundreds of millions of dollars into it, you need to end of life this game engine. Giant disappointment. My heart goes out to the diehard Xbox fans who have to huff insane amounts of copium and defend this steaming pile of to their Sony pony nemesis. Starfield Shattered Space sucks. That's all I have to say about it. If you stuck around this long, we really do appreciate you. If you can, please like and subscribe to the channel and make sure to comment down below if you agree with my review or not. Also, be sure to check out our latest game reviews on basegamereviews.com and come stick around for our podcast that premieres every Friday at 5 p.m. PST. And you can also check out our podcast on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts.